talk about some of the parts of our disc. I will refer to this edge right here as either the lip or the rim. Either of those words will mean this. A little bit of background about me. I grew up in Ultimate Frisbee. So I grew up playing Ultimate Frisbee. I did it for all of college competitively and wound up going to nationals and stuff. Ultimate Frisbee discs are about this much bigger and much heavier. So the game changes as we change the size of the disc and as we change the weight of the disc, because unlike a ball, like if I'm throwing a football or if I'm kicking a soccer ball, wind is going to impact that a little bit. Wind is going to impact this tremendously, because if, let's say, I have something like this going on and the wind is coming this way, we're going to push the disc. If wind is coming this way, we're going to flip it over and send it flying. So weight of the disc, how we hold the disc, all of this is going to be what we're digging into today. It's going to help you. And just know there is not one right way to do anything in this life. With the Frisbee, there's going to be a lot of different grips I'm going to show you. Today I want you to play. We're going to figure out what feels the best in your hand, what feels the best in your body, and then we're going to give you a lot of feedback. So we're going to start with our basic backhand throw. I would call this a backhand throw. Before we get there, let's talk about grip positions. So I want you to stick the disc into the meaty part of your palm. Awesome, yeah. Now grab it with your thumb on top on the face of the disc and your fingers around the lip or the rib. And try to pull it out of your own hand. What I want is that your grip, did you see how as you did this, it kind of came out of your hand? We want a solid enough grip that it is contacting our whole meaty pad as we go to pull it out. Great, grab it with the other side just to feel it. We're gonna probably throw with the hand you think you're gonna throw with, but sometimes we surprise ourselves and we're like, oh, I'm a lefty, thought I was a righty. All right, this I would consider a power grip. It is a power grip because it's going to give us a really solid connection to the disc, and when we're throwing with a lot of power and this is what we're gonna use. Now a precision grip that's gonna give you more accuracy would be to have the finger here. This finger gives the disc a surface to spin off of when we are throwing it. So it's going to be more precise. It is a little less powerful. Now there are hybrid grips in between. So I could do something like that, let's say. So I'm not all together, but I don't have my finger out. I have my knuckle is bent around, but there's a little space between. So there's room to play within this gradient. If I said power to precision, you can choose kind of what you're doing with your hand. We will play with all of them today. All right, when a disc flies through the air, we have the glide, which is the beautiful part, where it's like, ooh, look, the dog's gonna get it. And then we have what I would call the fade. Oh, there it goes. It's gonna turn to the right or to the left, depending if you're throwing backhand or forehand. Just so you know what I'm talking about, backhand, forehand. We're not gonna deal with this one today unless we have bonus time. If we have bonus time, we'll get into this. But when I say backhand, I'm talking about this direction of throw. So with our backhand, everyone take the disc. I wanna talk about spin first and wobble. Most of the time when you release the disc and you see wobble, 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 we didn't have a firm grip. So a lot of times, instead of being in the meaty part of our palm, where we're like solid and holding it, and everyone hold it in that like power grip, I'm gonna come around and try to hit it, and I don't wanna knock it out of your hand. Ready? Good. Good. You can do this to each other. Hit someone's disc next to you. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Hit her disc. Yeah. Good. Okay. If we get this, it probably wasn't being held with enough grip. Now, we want to make sure when it's time to let go, we release all the grip, because if we're holding, that's also problematic. So you want a firm grip that is timed to let go at the right time. Spin. If I have let's pretend I'm going to throw to Victoria. If I'm going to throw to Victoria and I have the disc like this and I want to add some spin, I'm in trouble because what adds spin is the wrist. So if I'm cocked and I want to throw to Victoria, when I let go, I can add some spin and end right there, pointing to Victoria. My disc is going to spin, not be wobbly. I had a good grip and I had some wrist action at the end. If I start here uncocked and I'm trying to throw, I'm really going to struggle to get spin in, because either I have to, like, let's just pretend I'm going to throw to Victoria, I want spin. It's going to go past her. The trajectory will be behind her. So if I want to add spin and not have to do this bonus really unpredictable calculation, if I'm straight and I want to get it to Victoria, I'd have to, like, oh, I think I should flick my wrist. That's very complicated. What I prefer is pack your disc so that when your wrist is facing, when my arm is facing Victoria, straightening out the disc is going to end with some wrist action and a glide that's going straight to her. So the only other thing I want to teach you before we stand up and start throwing to each other at a short distance is positioning. If I want to throw to Victoria, if I'm throwing like most things, many things in this life, I can face off, hips, shoulders, head, and I can like throw or throw, depending if it's what sport you're playing. Frisbee, if I'm trying to throw a backhand and I face off, this is really not enough momentum to build some power. So now this is my power position and it's not going anywhere toward Victoria. This is one of the number one newbie things that I see that make our lives a little hard, and it feels awkward because there's really no other sport where I want to throw to Victoria like this. This is a strange way to stand. So everybody stand up. From here, think about packing your discs. I'm not going to worry in this moment about the trajectory of where it's coming from. We're going to add all of that. All I want to practice is unpack and point to the thing you think you want to throw it to. This is where you have to let go. Where do you think the disc is going to go if I let go there? Where's it going? Here. Yeah. If I let it go over here, where's it going? Yes. So I think my biggest goal for today is to give you enough information and practice that you can self-correct, because we're not going to be with you every time you're throwing. But if you can look at a disc and go, I released that way too late. Oh, I released that way too early. It gives you data to get better by yourself with your dog in real time. Okay, so let's mock a couple more. Just pack the wrist, unpack the wrist, and point to what you want it to go. And add a little bit of speed, but don't let it go. So that last moment, good. You can add a sound effect if it makes you happy. Clearly it makes me happy. Hiya. Yeah, whatever your sound effect is. Great. Great. Now, at that last second, if you feel like you're like wobbly-ish with the wrist, try it a couple more times. Pay attention. Do you have a nice, strong release spot? Okay, great. And now pause here. The problem with mock-ups, the only thing I don't like about mocking or throw is we don't practice the follow through. We practice stopping. So when I throw, are you ready to catch Victoria? No, just be ready to block. Everyone be ready to block your faces. When I throw to Victoria, I don't want to stop my hand. I'm going to release the disc and I'm going to allow my arm to continue moving. Ready? Here we go. So that was small, but my arm finishes the trajectory. As we add more power, this skill becomes more and more important. So when you practice a lot of short throws and you're like, ha, and you're just doing your wrist, and then you go to do big throws, your body is not used to following through. So even if you're doing a little tiny baby throw to Victoria, I want you to practice giving your arms some like freedom to move after. Because I'll do the exaggerated version. If I'm throwing and I just stop, I missed all of that extra rotation that's going to give my disc more go. So I don't want you to practice in a way that's like, this is my stopping point. Even though we don't need that power, just add a little like movement. Let your arm be free. If you throw it, your arm is going to be free. Now, holding your disc, let's practice a little body. We don't need a lot of power. So we don't need to do all that golf swing rotation. But I want to start getting into the rhythm of shifting our weight. So everyone look at something that is coming off your shoulder as if you were going to throw it, and just shift your weight left to right, left to right, left to right. Is anyone here a lefty? Raise your hand. Ooh. Okay, so you're going to go right to left.
Not using that.
Perfect. So you'll be with us. Okay, so now we're going to mock our throw so that as we shift our weight subtly, we're releasing. Pack the disc, nice strong grip. You're going to release there. When we do it in real time, you won't just stop your arm here. You will let it go and allow your arm to continue traveling. Okay, let's start here. Know that with the skills I just gave you, there's still a good chance your disc is gonna flip over, or we're gonna add those next layers in a moment. We are now gonna talk about Hmong and hyzer. Hyzer. So, if I want my disc not to go out wide, the tendency with the backhand is gonna be for it to go and flop over. Wherever the underside of the disc is, that's the most likely area that the wind is gonna catch, and it's gonna flop it out to the side. So what Rebecca was doing, and thank you, I wanted to see if she did a beautiful job of it. We had one go right, we had one go left, we had one go straight. How we angle the disc is gonna really impact that fade. So if I throw flat and it's a windy day, what's likely to happen is the wind is gonna come underneath and flip it over. Have we experienced this ever?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. In order to get it to fly straight, it looks wild, but I'm going to release with what we call hyzer. I'm going to release at an angle like this. So the more angle, the more hyzer. I'm going to face you guys so I can see that everyone can see it. The more angle, the more hyzer. If it's very windy, sometimes I'm releasing like this. If it's not that windy, I might be here, I might be here, I might be here. It really depends on what's going on. The only way to figure out how much hyzer you need is to get lots of experience throwing in different conditions. So today it's a beautiful playground. If I go here and release, when the wind hits, it's gonna push it a little bit, but it's gonna be more likely to straighten. And typically within a foot or two of releasing, it's gonna start to flatten out on its own. So it doesn't feel correct. It feels scientifically wrong to release it like this in the hopes that it's going to go straight. But this is what happens. So this is hyzer, and this is the amount of hyzer. So everyone take your disc and you can unpack it a little bit. We're gonna do it from the packed position and then the unpacked position. Here first, and then we're gonna pack it. So practice taking the lift that is inside towards your body and dropping it down. And if you're standing, why don't we all stand for this? Yeah, this is great. If you're standing, I want you to stand to the side and then drop the disc down. Notice my wrist is straight. So you see how your wrist is a little flexed? Yes.
The minute you said that, I was like, my wrist is
So when we start messing with the angle of the disc, I see a lot of people do like things here to do it, when really it's just a rotation of the arm position versus a fixing it all with the wrist. So let me see that. Let's go flat, real strong hyzer, all the way down to the ground. Flat, hyzer. Go back and forth between these two. I just want to look at everyone's body if we understand the end position. Yes, good. And then notice your arm is here. Turn your body.
really, look at this disc. It wasn't even fair to throw.
So when you're throwing right now, I kind of see part of your chest. Go like, yeah, and then move your arm toward me. That is your end position. Okay. Yeah, if we know where we're going.
Sorry, I was totally sitting in the way of the camera. Like 100%. You have like 2 minutes of this.
Good end position. Awesome. Okay. Now, same thing, but we're gonna pack the wrist. Okay? Same rotation. So don't do any other stuff with your elbow. It's straight. I'm just, okay? So when I throw, I'm going to have the wrist down, and then it's going to spin off my finger, and I'm gonna end pointing at what I want to do. So here, go ahead. Don't worry right now about is it coming from my hips or my body, or like, don't care, we'll fix that. But just pack it, come a little lower, try not to come straight. That's the only thing I would avoid. I don't want to come straight across. It's a lot of work on the shoulder. So come a little lower, shift your weight, and release. And just look, is my arm straight? Is my hip facing my target? Do a couple more. Good. Nice. Now, if you're starting like this and then flipping, there's a little extra waste of time there. So as I'm loading, I'm already coming. I see some of you that are like this. And then fixing it. You were doing it, but not only you, lots of people. So if I'm gonna throw, if I'm choosing to throw with hyzer, I'm going to come like this, and I'm going to start from there to not waste any time. That's the way I'm throwing. So practice a few more times. Okay,